Yes, people. Um, Reality-based diets. Today, I'm going to talk about, um, you know, your pathways, I guess, and the fact that sometimes things are going to change. People change. Some of the shit that they used to say, they don't say no more, or if they do say it, their actions don't really correspond, right? And that's okay. Shit changes, right? But you know, if some of them things that they used to say were, embedded in core values and embedded in a vision that inspired a nation, yeah, it would get disappointing. It would be harder to follow them. It would be harder to give a shit. Like, do you know what I mean? Right? Let me give you an example. Like, basically, I'm gonna try and tell a story about a king and a warrior, right? So there's this big battle going on. All the warriors are out there fighting, yeah, in the lands of the king. Bear in mind, all of these warriors probably followed this king from like early days, yeah. They might have even got a few of their moves from man, updated, of course, but the king is the king, right? But anyway, the war is waging. The war is waging, yeah, and you know, the king from his tower, because that's where the king should be, yeah. Once you become the king, it's time to act kingly, yeah. So the king from his tower, looking out onto the battle, literally thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people out there waging war, yeah. Hundreds of thousands of people battling. But he spots this one warrior. And somehow he knows the warrior. He feels like he knows the warrior. But even beyond that, he sees the warrior fighting, slaying, facing, being outnumbered a lot of the time, right? And he sees all that, the king. And, after every battle subsides, the warrior dedicates his survival, his victories to God, not to the land, not to the king, but to God, right? The warrior loves his country. Otherwise, he wouldn't be fighting for his country in the first place, right? But he dedicates everything that comes in those situations to God. Well, comes probably to everything in his life, right? He probably dedicates it all to God. Now, in that moment, the king is making a decision. And the decision is whether to view the warrior as an asset or an adversary. Right? Now, the only way for me that the king can then see the warrior as an adversary is if the king valued himself and his views or whatever his agenda is above God, and therefore would recognize the warrior as some sort of threat later down the line in terms of right, I've seen him fight in amongst his peers, in amongst the war. Everyone else is seeing it, especially on the ground level. So he has respect of the people. But on top of that, he's dedicating it all to God, which shows what his real true goal, especially in some of the more vicious battles that he's fought. His goal was only to do God's work, right? And what that suggests to a king is that, you know, this is a man of values. Values that maybe once upon a time that king had himself. And that's why so many warriors had followed him. Like I'm saying to you, like a benevolent king in that situation, right? Because this is the other thing. The warrior doesn't expect any king to bow down to him. Like the warrior, look, you know, in terms of being as any warrior, yeah, you know that you're in the middle of your battles. Like this is what we do. We this is like a king's business has nothing to do with the likes of us, right? Warriors, no. So, you know, a benevolent king in them situations, more time is just going to give you a subtle way to acknowledge you and keep it pushing, because within that acknowledgement, you've gotten all of the encouragement you need that you are doing the right things. You like the warrior has no designs to be a king. Otherwise, he wouldn't be dedicating his victories to God anyway. He would probably be dedicating it to the king, to get closer to the king, to try to chop his head off or something, like, because that's how the game works, right? Now, like I'm saying to you, in our journeys, especially when we start off with core values. And a lot of our actions line up with it, right? See, like me, at certain stages of my life, I used to deal with a lot of arguing and shouting and trying to be louder than the other person and rear tear, right? I'm not here for none of that shit no more. Like, beyond growing up, right? Like, it's more so just, if I can't have an exchange of information with someone without it going crazy, yeah, because if I've got to hear some shit that I don't like hearing, and I've got to process it like an adult, so should everyone else that's in that conversation, right? But pathways, yeah, and ideals that gain you a following, like your core ideals. To never stray from those ideals, number one, is hard, right? But number two is your mission. If your mission got motion and started running off of certain ideals, that's what it is. And staying on path is your job. Like, the king's job was never mind job, right? Every great kingdom is built off of its warriors, its healers, its service providers. Of course, the king calls the shots. The king is the king. I keep saying it, right? And like, when I say all this, I don't mean this in literal terms in nowadays, yeah? I don't give a shit about any of that. Politicians, monarchy, all the rest of it. Like, I respect your authority. I hear it, but I'm not tuned in to use lots frequency, right? Now, like I'm saying to you, a good warrior recognizes his role, but not only his role, but his purpose. Like, that's why it's all in God's name. And unfortunately, war and all the rest of it, right? Because the men and women that have to go into war, that are involved in these conflicts, the reality of the conflict is his life is going to be taken, right? And we all, in those types of situations, we all need everything that we can get from God, because we know if we make it through that, then it is dedicated to God that we made it through that, right? This is the intricacies of, like, because like I'm saying to you, these is one of the things what I struggled with years ago in terms of, being spiritual, yeah, because I was looking at wars and all the rest of it. And obviously wars are not the creation of God or even the devil. Of course, the devil's rooted in the temptation to go do a thing, yeah, but everything is put into motion by men, like, or women, yeah. But when I say men, I'm just talking about human, yeah, like, not by God, right? We just start asking and thanking God to get us out of the shit that we're in because of decisions that we've made as humans, right? Yeah, man, like I'm saying to you, a good king, in my eye, and this is my eye from down in the middle of the battlefield, looking way up there, right? Because all I can see is the battle. Because even the people that I'm having to fight against, I don't want to kill them. Like, not deep inside my heart. Like, cool, because I'm in this moment, I know that I got to, because it's either me or them. But on my day-to-day life, I'm not thinking about doing all this shit. Like, well, I don't want to be. I know as a warrior, I got to stay ready because anything might become challenging at any one point. But the point is also that a good king should be looking for ways to lessen the amount of wars that his warriors, i.e. the people that put him where he is anyway, less wars that his warriors have to fight. Like, to me, that's not even, it doesn't seem that crazy. Like, it doesn't seem crazy at all. Like, when you deep it, like, there's people like with missing limbs and missing lives and missing partners and missing everything now, right? Off of loads of what we've all come to realize is wars that were forged on piracy more than anything else, right? When you deep like history, yeah, like piracy is is the name of the game, bro. Like, rolling up somewhere and just taking some shit. Like, if you got more or better weapons than the next people, then it's real easy, isn't it? It's the name of the game, right? But like I'm saying to you, as a warrior, I know that shit's never gonna stop, right? But what I think is happening, and definitely should be happening, and probably has been for a while, is just less people are on it, yeah? Less people are trying to be a pirate. Less people are trying to sail the seven seas and all of that, yeah? And I think in essence, that's a great change. Cause like I'm saying to you, man, like, The one thing I know about warriors, yeah, is they get love, yeah, and they get it because they give it out. That they wouldn't be warriors if they didn't have heart. Like, that's straight away, right? But with kings, yeah. So no, sorry, even with warriors, it's just the love is, it's just natural, yeah, because of the way they are, the way they carry themselves, and what they're willing to do and what they're not willing to stand for, right? Whereas a king, right, you just never know. You never know anymore, like, what they stand for, because how can they know? How can they know? If they know now that because of certain allegiances or whatever, they've got to do this, that, and the other, because, like, or if they know that, like, you know, all the shit that they used to say, all the for the people shit that they used to say, all the times that they've used God's name, was that just part of some act? Like, because within that, the questions start to, like, you know, paint a narrative that you know, your feelings was right. Maybe this person is not about what they used to be about, and that's fine. Like I'm saying to you, yeah, becoming a king, having everything that you want, need, and more, right? If all you wanted that was that shit, then just have that shit. Like, if other people have other things that you seem like you don't want because you well, I don't want to say you sold it, but like I'm saying, I was there from long, like, and stayed for long, like, and I find it weird. I find the actions of kings strange at times. Like I'm saying to you, man, that to be a king sounds like more headache than a warrior's life. I'll tell you that right now, yeah? It may not be as dangerous. It may not be, you may be, you know, backed better by more powerful people and all the rest of it, right? But there's a freedom about going with God. Like I'm saying, I'm fully prepared for anything that God has decided will happen, because I know he knows best. So that's it. That's all that there is. And I feel like that's the same with warriors, yeah? Soldiers, all of that. Like, we didn't start the war. We didn't start the war, but we accepted the call. But we accepted it in the purest way. So we just do what we do. And when your king isn't happy or not even congratulative, yeah, because that ain't what the king's there for. But if he isn't at least basking in the glory of something that he helped create, yeah, some of his visions, some of his mantras, some of his ideals helped create, the fuck is wrong with him? Why is your happiness disconnected, king? Like, I don't understand it. Do you know what I'm saying? No, you got all the money, a queen, you know, knights, like all sorts of shit, yeah. And the only thing I can see in warriors that kings don't have is God. Well, the benevolent kings, they do. Because there's plenty of them. But yeah, the only thing that I got that certain dons don't got is God. Like, I keep trying to stress the thing that is crazy to me right now. Because everyone that I look around and see that has God, yeah, is sick. Like, they, you know what I mean? They're tapped in, they're on bits, they got style, yeah, they got sauce, and they're about that life. What's up, like? Come on, man. Like, what is the Humpty Dumpty thing? Like, I feel like so Humpty Dumpty had a great fall, yeah, and all the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. I don't know if that has any relevance, yeah. It feels like it don't, but it might. Like, it might. Listen, man, keep fighting the good fight. Like, number one, you never know who's watching. Like, but I would be fighting this way anyway. Like, cause I had no choice. Like, but the point is, 100%, you never know where you are, what you're doing, and who you're around, and who's watching. So just, bro, put your best foot forward, yeah? Some of you, like, are sensational, like, are sensationally talented and highly spirited people. You're just not trying. Like, that's it. That is it. Yeah, man. Holy Trinity, bro. Do the work. It's not just a saying. It's not just some new hashtag lit, hashtag trending. We're not doing all that. This isn't to be trending. We're not here to go viral. We're not here for all of that. Yeah, like, if that happens, great. That's cool. But what we're here for is the expansion. Yeah, we start with the expansion of ourselves. And then once we're getting to grips with the expansion of ourselves, it's time to expand our circle. Yeah, with like-minded people who are then, you know, we're all just going to put our heads together and do some shit that's going to expand an even bigger circle. Yeah, and we're going to inspire some other people to do some shit like what we're doing somewhere else. And then we're going to link up with them. And then the thing's expanding even more, right? Because, like, maybe the type of walks and, you know, reception and frequencies that kings have and are on is not the type of frequencies and receptions that I need to be working with anyway. Yeah, as a warrior, right? I understand the full intricacies of this whole war shit, yeah, on both sides. Maybe what I want to do now is go out into the community and start rebuilding property, rather than, boom, we're all going to have a feast and celebrate the king and rear tear tear, and then we're just going to wait for the next war. We're not going to put back in to what the fuck has all just happened. Yeah, we're not going to just leave it there, and the people that have lost their partners and people that have lost their whole, like, all the fuckery that comes with war, we call it collateral damage. Yeah, like, This is the mad thing about collateral damage as well. After a plot, after a conspiracy, after a situation, yeah, and you start to see who the fall guys really were, even though there was meant to be a patsy maybe, right? After that, you then get to see what your role was in those people's plan. They gave no thought, mind, or care into whether or not, because obviously I'm assuming they never told you their whole plan. Like, because why would they? They wouldn't tell you their whole history. Why would they? Yeah, all right. Collateral damage, bro. Like, and this is, like I'm saying to you, the age of the benevolent king. Yeah, the benevolent kings that are in places of power already. Yeah, that are already using that power, influence, wealth, abundant energy to go to places and create more of the same with similar minded people. Right? This is the future, bruv. Like, and it's not the future because it's the now. This isn't my theology. This is just some shit that I've observed. Yeah, and I happen to be talking about it that because I think it's worth talking about. These days of kings and kingmakers and gates and gatekeepers, well, that's cool. But at the same time, I hear it for the entertainment business, cool, whatever. Like, but the fact that that shit goes on in way more important places is not cool. Like, it's not cool. And like I'm saying to you, there's way too many people that's awake nowadays. Like, and being awake don't look and sound and even have the stigma that it used to, because I think this the levels of what being asleep looks like nowadays, yeah. If you don't find it mad, like some of the shit that we're shown, right? Some of the things that we're told to look at, some of the things that we're told to follow, some of the, like I said, I'm not gonna get too deep into that, right? But it is. I can't remember the film, right? But there's a film, a comedy film with Terry Crews and I don't know. It's one of the Owen brothers. It's the one with the brown hair. I don't like Colin or Reese or some shit. Like one of them, Owen, something Owen, right? It's the one with the brown hair. But basically, the man like somehow drops into a time machine or time capsule or something and wakes up like, I don't know, 100 years in the future, and it's just mad. Like, it's just mad. Like, everyone on the planet is fucking dumb as fuck, yeah. And Terry Crews is the president, yeah, but it's like he's playing like a parody of like every single character that he's ever played, yeah, but in the most dumbest way, right? So like basically we're in a global state of the blind leading the blind, yeah. And like the more you deep mainstream pop culture, whether it's black, whether it's white, whether it's like, you know, Asian, whatever, like when you deep it, there's a dumbing down going on, right? There's a simplifying going on and has been going on for a long time. But anyway, I think, you know, it's so obvious nowadays and so intense is because they're losing their grasp, they're losing their grip on us. Like, I used to think it's because, oh my God, it's working, everyone's an idiot. Like, but Now when I deep it, I actually think it's the opposite. Because like over the past however many years now, there's been lots of like extreme things going on, right? And this enemy is a subtle, hidden enemy. That's been its MO for a hell of a long time. So if it's doing outlandish shit now, right? If you want to call C19 that, right? If you want to call the amount of, yeah, just the amount of shit that is just getting like, and it's crazy shit. Like when you deep it, there's a lot of things that have gone on. Like some things that shit looks straight out of a James Bond movie. Like, what was it? I can't remember. Was it the Lebanon thing? That was weird. But like I'm saying, right? This hidden enemy has now become more outlandish and more sloppy in the ways it's revealing itself. And something that goes against its core programming, like, you know, what it's been doing, i.e. staying hidden. For that to happen, it feels exposed. So it's trying its hardest, right, to throw distractions and chaos tactics in and around so that it feels less exposed. Like it's almost like something else that happened in the past 3-4 years in terms of Come to Light really has rocked the world more than they're ever going to tell us, right? But we don't need to talk about that. We're not here to talk about the past. We're just identifying where we're at so that moving forward, we understand where we're going, the direction that we as people want to go, right? We've already seen that the government is very happy to lead us into wars and poverty and, you know, civil unrest, like on a regs. So let's stop dedicating our fights, our wars, our graft, our battles to the land and to the country, to the earth, yes, but not to the king, but to the Most High, to God. And the best way that we can do that, like I'm saying to you, obviously, you know, we've spoken about local politics, we've spoken about frameworks that need to be built. There's that. But the best thing that you can do is keep fighting your fights. Keep being you, like you, yeah? Keep being you. Keep doing what you need to do. But just dedicate it all to God, man. Like, the king does not care for the country. He cares what the country gives to him. And that's not revolutionary talk. That's how they misused and misrepresented the pyramid. Yeah? Pyramid schemes. So, like I'm saying to you, man, just continue to fight the good fights, yeah, continue to be a beacon of love, continue to talk to people. Don't bother shouting. If anyone's shouting at you, just let them finish their shouting, because we're not doing all of that no more. Like, you want to stand around shouting, making a scene of yourself, like that's up to you, man. I'm gonna bring the conversation back down to like inside voice levels and keep it moving. I'm not here for play, like, remember them ones there? Yeah, man. Life is worth changing. Like, if something's not how you like it, just change that shit. Like, if you've forgotten what it's like to be a warrior, any of you kings, and you feel like you've lost touch with that, you somehow feel less, go get in touch with some warriors, bear them. Like, be a benevolent king. Like, what's all this other shit, man? Like I'm saying to you, that man took some of your moves and everything, bruv. Like, and like I'm saying to you, same way as man that used to try to take, R9's moves, or flipping Ronaldinho's moves, or flipping Kobe's moves, or Jordan's moves. It's because you saw the greatness in the moves, right? Because you see the greatness in your king. But where is that greatness now? Yeah, that and the only people, right, that's gonna feel what I'm saying right now, yeah, really, is more so probably the people that I'm speaking to, and some of you kings that ain't been acting right, and some of you warriors that be looking at kings in a way like, what's going on with this brother? Like, what? Like, why is there a hole in your heart? Like, who did this to you, bruv? But listen, none of it matters. None of it matters, man. Like, the hands of time, the clock, all of that shit, right? We're all just cogs in it. Some of us way bigger cogs than others. But like, the reality is, if you understand that you're a cog, you're just happy being a cog. Like, it's all right. Like, I'm part of the clock. Like, boom. What's going on? Like, I feel like I'm talking to my son. Nah, bruv. Yeah. Listen, people, man. To have love for yourself, to have love for the Most High, also to have love for everyone that you may have above, beside, below, in whatever way, shape or form people may deem it. Like, always lead with love. Like, like I'm saying, it's not even that deep, man. Like, how I don't understand how you from up on that tower have spotted me. If not, someone sent a carrier pigeon, yeah, like, real talk. But listen, I'm gonna leave it there for today, man. The message is the message, yeah? Holy Trinity, do the work. Reality-based diets, peace.